Be careful that you don't say that. Say, well, in today's lesson, I would like to help you use that expression. Be careful that you don't. And also 40 more expressions that I use in my daily life. And you can too. Let's get started with the first set of 10 expressions that I use every day in my morning routine. Let's go! All right, let's get started at the beginning of the day and go through these 10 expressions that you can use every day, just like I do. Expression number 1 is to whip up something to eat. This phrasal verb, to whip up, implies a fast action. When I whip up something to eat, that means that I'm doing it pretty quickly. And why am I doing it quickly? Well, in the morning, I don't leave myself much time to do all the things that I need to do. So when my kids say, "Mom, can you come look at this? Mom, can you go over here?" I say, "Sorry, kids, I have to whip up something to eat first. I need to quickly toast some bread, make some eggs. I need to whip up something to eat." Expression number 2. Come on, let's go. I say this every day. Maybe you do too, in your own language. When we need to get somewhere in the morning, school, or work, well, if you have to gather other people, whether it's your husband or your kids, you probably say, "Come on, let's go." Especially if you're the one who's ready first. If you're the one who takes a long time, you might hear someone else say this to you. "Come on, let's go. Are you ready?" The third expression that I use every day is, "We don't want to be late." Or sometimes I say, "I don't want to be late." Because usually it's just me who cares about this. The kids don't always care about it. But this is giving a reason for why you need to say, "Come on, let's go." We don't want to be late. It's kind of rude to be late, isn't it? At least in American culture, it's rude to be late, so it's a good motivator. Daily life expression number 4 is one that you can use as you're driving your kids to school, or if you're on your way to work. You can say, "I'm stuck in traffic, but I'm on my way." This is letting the other person know, maybe your child's teacher, maybe your boss, that you have an excuse. "I'm stuck in traffic, but don't worry. I'm not still at home lying in bed. I'm on my way." With family members, sometimes when we text, we say OMW, and this means on my way. This is a common abbreviated expression that if I'm at the store and I'm coming home, I might text my husband OMW. That means on my way. Daily life expression that I use almost every day is, "I'm going to run some errands." To run some errands is a great fixed phrase that you can add to your vocabulary. And it means doing necessary things like going to the grocery store, going to the post office, going to the bank. I'm going to run some errands, and then I need to pick up my kids from school. Daily life expression number 6 is, "I better run." Is this talking about having some physical activity and running? Number. This is talking about leaving. I better run. I'm going to be late. So if you're chatting with a friend, maybe you're having some coffee together, and you realize it's almost 3 o'clock, and you need to pick up your kids at 3 o'clock. You might say, "I better run." And the word "better" here is not talking about a comparison like this is better than this. Instead, this is a substitute for the word need. I need to run. I need to go. I better run. I better go. Great expression that I use all the time, and you can too. Daily life expression number 7. You can ask, how was everyone's day? This is something you can ask your kids, you can ask your partner, you can ask, how was everyone's day? And our next 8th expression is kind of a follow-up to that. You might ask, what did you do today? What did you do today? If you ask kids this after school, what did you do today? They might just say, nothing. It's often good to ask a pointed question, so if you know something specific about your child's day, it's better to ask that. For example, my son, who's in 1st grade, his 1st grade teacher gives each student a job for the day. So his job might be what they call energy saver. And that means it's the person who turns off the lights when they leave the classroom. So I might ask him, how was your day as energy saver? Did you turn off the lights today? And he might say, yeah, and then I did. And then it kind of continues the conversation a bit. Instead of asking, what did you do today? You can ask a more pointed question. The 9th expression that I use every day is talking about dinner. When my husband and I come together at the end of the day and we say, what are we going to eat? Well, maybe one of us will have a suggestion. I might say, well, I was thinking about making spaghetti. What do you think? Here, I'm asking him, what's your opinion? What do you think? And if he says, nah, you know what? I think I'm going to make a roast chicken. I might say, cool, great, go for it. You can ask someone's opinion by saying, what do you think? The 10th expression that I use every day is to start winding down. Here we have the phrasal verb to wind down. There is the opposite, to wind up, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But when you wind down, you're calming down. You're trying to prepare for bed, prepare for the end of the day, and trying to just calm your mind. So what I often say to my kids is, all right, everyone, dinner's finished. It's time to start winding down. We're going to take a bath. I'm going to read you some stories, and then you're going to go to bed. We're trying to wind down. But sometimes, what happens is the opposite. After my kids take a bath, they just get this burst of energy. I don't know if this has ever happened to you or to your kids in your house, where they just get wound up. This is the past irregular tense here. They get wound up. They get so much energy after a bath, and they're running around like crazy. So I say, hey, guys, we're going to start winding down. Let's start calming down your minds and your bodies and get ready for bed. It's time to start winding down. Great work learning those 10 expressions that I use every day. Let's go on to 10 more. Expression number 1 is to look forward to something. This is a great phrasal verb, and I often say, I'm really looking forward to this weekend because my whole family will be together, and we can just enjoy some calm family time together. In reality, it's not always a calm time, but it's usually a nice time when we're all together. This expression, to look forward to something, is talking about something that you're excited about. What are you looking forward to? Maybe it's finishing an exam so that you don't have to study anymore. Or maybe you're looking forward to seeing your cousin, who you haven't seen for a long time. Or maybe you're looking forward to studying English with Lara. Let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to. And let's go on to expression number 2 that I use every day. Expression number 2 that I use every day is kind of 2 parts. I'm thinking about, And what do you think? When you live with other people, you're probably going to use this expression a lot. So, for example, I often say, "I'm thinking about going to the gym tonight. What do you think?" When I ask my husband this, I'm not asking for his permission. "Can I please go to the gym? I need your permission." No. Instead, I'm asking him, "Hey, while I go to the gym, can you watch the kids? Can you make dinner? Can you put them to bed?" There's a lot going on in our house, so when one adult has to do something away from the home, we need to talk about it. So here I'm using this great expression. I'm thinking about, what do you think? We're trying to make sure that we're on the same page so that our home, ideally, can be a peaceful place. Expression number 3 is one that I say maybe too many times, and it is "be careful that you don't" plus something. So, for example, I often say to my kids, "Be careful that you don't drop that. Be careful that you don't." And here I'm warning them, I'm worried about something because I foresee a problem. When my child is carrying a plate full of food and they're carrying it around the table, down the stairs, I might say, "Be careful that you don't drop that plate of food, please, because this has happened before." I want to warn them to be careful. If you are a parent, I'm sure that you have used this before. And if you are not a parent, you can also warn other people. Be careful that you don't drive too fast because it's snowing outside. There are a lot of warnings that you can give to other people and use this great phrase. Expression number 4 is one that I use at the beginning of this lesson, and that is "thanks to." Thanks to you, I can teach English online. Here, I am telling you thank you, but I'm using the expression "thanks to." Thanks to my students, I can teach English online. Thanks to modern technology, I can teach English online. Thanks to here is something that you are grateful for, so that you can do something you want. But just a little note. This can also be used sarcastically to talk about something bad. Sometimes I use this because it's a little bit funny, it's a little bit silly, and when you're having a hard time, sometimes humor is the best medicine. So you might say, "Thanks to my neighbor's dog barking all night, I couldn't sleep." I'm not really thanking my neighbor's dog. I'm pretty annoyed that my neighbor's dog barked all night and I couldn't sleep. But I'm using this expression with a little bit of a sarcastic tone. So, listen to the tone of my voice when I say it. Thanks to my neighbor's dog who was barking all night, I couldn't sleep. My face is not happy, not excited. "Thank you, dog." No, I'm not saying it like that. Thanks to my neighbor's dog. So here, if there's something negative that's affecting your life, you can also use this expression. Just make sure your tone of voice reflects that. Expression number 5 is a fun one. As far as I know. So, in our house, we have a lot of things going on. There are 5 people who live in our house, 2 adults and 3 children. So we have a lot of different moving parts. So when my husband says, "Hey, do we have anything planned for Friday afternoon?" I might say, no, not as far as I know," or "as far as I know, I don't think so." This means I'm not exactly certain. I don't have a perfect calendar in my head. But for me, and maybe some of you have also said this to your husbands, as far as I know, we don't, but check the calendar. I think this is a very stereotypical situation where the wife tells the husband, I don't know. Check the calendar. It's on the calendar. And husbands are notorious for not checking the calendar and asking their wife first. So I would probably say, not as far as I know, but check the calendar. Expression number 7 is a speaking of. Let me give you a little example. My husband is a science teacher for elementary school students, and his project this week was to destroy and break apart appliances with the students. So all of the students had a screwdriver, and they were taking apart broken radios, broken hair dryers. They loved this project. So when my husband came home and was telling me about breaking things with the students, I said, "Speaking of breaking things, we broke 3 bowls today because the kids were running around the house." So here I am, kind of making a connection between one topic, breaking things with the students in the classroom, and a similar thing that happened at home. So if you are reminded of a topic and you want to connect those topics together, this is the perfect expression. You could say, "Oh yes, speaking of food, what are we going to eat for dinner?" Speaking of, plus the topic. It's a great way to connect things that you're talking about. Expression number 8 has 2 options. We may as well or we might as well. They both mean the same thing. It's just your personal preference. We often use this when there is some kind of change of plans that you have to make, one that you can't avoid. So, for example, my oldest son got invited to a birthday party for one of his friends. But when my son woke up, he was not feeling well, and I thought, you know what? Maybe he'll feel better throughout the day and he can go to the party tonight. But no, you know what? We might as well cancel now. This is talking about a change of plans that you can't avoid. He's probably not going to feel better later today to go to that party. So what's the conclusion? Well, we may as well cancel our plans now, or we might as well cancel our plans now. There's kind of a reluctance, like, I don't really want to, but I probably should. I don't know 100% what's the right thing to do. We may as well just do whatever it is, cancel our plans. This is a great expression to use because, in life, plans are always changing. Expression number 9 that I use every day is a good follow-up to expression number 8. It is, this doesn't mean that. It just means that. So, let's take that example of my son missing his friend's birthday party because he wasn't feeling well. Well, can you imagine when I told him, "Sorry, I don't think we're going to be able to go to her birthday party. You just aren't feeling well." How do you think he reacted to that? Do you think he said, "Great, yay"? No. Even though he wasn't feeling well, he was really disappointed. His reaction was not positive. Poor guy. He felt really disappointed to miss that birthday party. So, I use this expression to help him feel better. I wanted to explain a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't with children, but this is a great expression to use. I said, this doesn't mean that we can never play with your friend. It just means that we can't see her today, okay? Sometimes we jump to the biggest conclusion, I'll never play with my friends ever again. Oh no. And we want to kind of tone it down a bit. You can say, this doesn't mean that you'll never see her again. It just means that we won't see her today. Here, we're trying to make some realistic expectations to help us deal with disappointment. You can even use this in the workplace. Let's say that you're really working on a big project, and all of the team has to work overtime in order to finish the project. Well, your manager might say something like this. This doesn't mean that you'll always be working overtime. It just means that for this project this week, I'm going to need you to work a little bit extra so that we can finish. Great. They're trying to make the expectations realistic, help to deal with some disappointment, and just set out the facts. The final, 10th expression is a great one for expressing your preferences. It is, I would rather than. We often make a contraction out of I would and say, I'd rather than. For example, I'd rather learn English with Lara online than drive 30 minutes to learn in a classroom. We're talking about preferences, and this is something that we do all the time. Just a little note. There is a verb, to prefer. I prefer learning English online. Well, you know what? This is okay, but in the US, we don't really use the verb prefer that much. Instead, we're more likely to say, I'd rather. I'd rather learn English online because my life is just too busy. I don't have time to go into the classroom. I'd rather something than something else. Let me give you another example from my daily life. Every week, my family has certain meals that we make a lot. For example, every Monday, we make miso soup. We call it Miso Mondays. And there are different types of miso soup that we make. But this past Monday, it was just such a busy day, and all of the steps for making miso soup felt really overwhelming. So I told my family, I know that you guys like to eat miso soup, but I'd rather eat something quick and easy than spend a lot of time in the kitchen making miso soup. This doesn't mean that we'll never eat miso soup. It just means that we'll eat it tomorrow when we have a less busy day. Great way to use both of these expressions. So here, I'm talking about my preference. I'd rather eat something easy today. Let's just toast some bread, make some eggs, cook a little vegetable or something, and have an easy dinner because I'd rather have an easy dinner than a more complicated dinner. Today has already been too much. This is a great way to just naturally express your preferences. Great work learning those 10 expressions that I use every day. Let's go on to 10 more. Phrase number 1 is like clockwork. Take a look at this sentence, and I want you to guess what you think this means. Every morning at 6 a.m., my baby wakes up like clockwork. Do you think that sometimes my baby wakes up at 6, sometimes 8, sometimes 9? Nope. Every day, without fail, my baby wakes up at 6 a.m. I don't even need to look at the clock. She is like a clock, and here, that's what that expression means. Like clockwork means it happens so regularly that I don't even need to look at the clock because she wakes up every day at 6 a.m. Vocabulary phrase number 2 that I use almost every day is slowly and surely. Notice the pronunciation of the word surely. There's no sh, but it sounds like that. Surely. Take a look at this sentence. Slowly and surely, my 2 older boys will learn to help get themselves ready in the morning. At the moment, my 6-year-old gets dressed usually by himself, but my 3-year-old needs a little bit more help, especially putting on his shirt. And you know what? Slowly and surely, they will become more independent and be able to get ready by themselves. Can you guess what you think this vocabulary phrase means? Well, it means that something is not going to happen quickly. It will take time. And you know what? As a mom of 3 young kids, it can be really challenging sometimes to do all of the tasks, but I want to appreciate how small and cute they are right now. Slowly and surely, they will become more independent. So right now, I just need to enjoy them. Vocabulary phrase number 3 that I use almost every day is, I've gotten into the habit of. Take a look at the sentence. Ever since my baby was born, I've gotten into the habit of getting ready right when I wake up. What do you think this means? Do I usually wait until after eating breakfast to brush my hair? Do I usually wait until my children are dressed to put on my clothes for the day? Nope. Instead, right when I wake up, I get myself ready first. So we use this phrase, I've gotten into the habit of getting myself ready. It helps me to feel better about the day, and I'm not neglecting myself and only taking care of my children. Instead, I've gotten into the habit of getting myself ready first in the morning, and then I'm ready to take care of everyone else. Vocabulary. Phrase number 4 is put it off. Take a look at this sentence. I have a list of things that I need to do, but I have been putting them off for too long. Today is the day. Can you guess what this means? Well, it means I have been procrastinating or delaying doing something. I know we are all like this, right? I need to call the bank. I need to make a cake for a friend's birthday. I need to send a message to my students. These things I have been delaying. I have been putting them off. But no longer. Today is the day that I will check them off of my to-do list. Vocabulary phrase number 5 that I use almost every day is, it's a hassle. There are a lot of things that are a hassle in life. But take a look at this sentence for me. Driving my son to preschool is such a hassle. Here, I've added the word such to emphasize it. This is a parenting duty that I just don't like. It's one of the things that I don't appreciate. I have a hard time enjoying. For me, it's a hassle. And that means it's frustrating, difficult, or annoying. It's a hassle to drive my son to preschool each morning, but I know that it's important, so I do it. Vocabulary phrase number 6 that I use almost every day is as it turns out. As it turns out, and I need something after that. Take a look at the sentence. I tried to call the bank, but as it turns out, the bank is closed today. So here we have the difference between what I thought would happen and the reality. And these are situations that happen every day, all the time. I wanted to stop putting off calling the bank, so I did it. I called them, and then guess what? They were closed, so I'll have to do it another day. So as it turns out, they were closed. I'll just do it tomorrow. Vocabulary phrase number 7 that I use almost every day is go with the flow. Take a look at this. During the week, I try to stay pretty organized, but on the weekends, I like to just go with the flow. So when my husband asks me, what do you want to do this weekend? I can use this great expression because it means, I don't know. I have no plans. I'm going to just be like a river and follow the water. I'm going to go with the flow. So, I could respond to him and say, I don't know. Let's just go with the flow. If we feel like staying home, that's fine. If we feel like we want to go out, I'm okay with that too. Let's just go with the flow. Vocabulary phrase number 8 is that being said. This is a good one to follow number 7. So I just said, I like to go with the flow on the weekends. But that being said, I do sometimes like to have plans for the weekends. Okay? I sometimes like to organize what's going on the weekends. Not every hour on the hour, what we're doing, but maybe we'll visit a friend or a family member or go on a hike. That being said, so here I'm saying the opposite. I like to go with the flow. Well, that being said, this is true. I like to go with the flow, but I want to give an exception, something that's the opposite. That being said, I do like to plan some things on the weekend. Vocabulary phrase number 9 that I use almost every day is now that I think about it. Because in my life, there is a lot going on. I have quite a busy life. You probably do too. So whenever my husband says, "Hey, what are your plans for tomorrow?" I might say, "I don't know. I'm just going to go with the flow." And then I say, "Oh, now that I think about it, I forgot that we have a birthday party to go to tomorrow." Now that I think about it, so we can kind of assume that previously, when I said, "Let's just go with the flow," I wasn't really thinking about it. But now that I think about it, oh yeah, we do have something planned for tomorrow. We're going to go to a birthday party. So this is a great expression to use when you change your mind or when you realize something that you forgot about. Now that I think about it, we actually do have plans. Vocabulary phrase number 10, and our final one for today's lesson, is a fun one. That's beside the point. That's beside the point. So here we have the point, which is the purpose or the meaning of something. And if something is beside the point, what do you think that means? Take a look at this sentence. When my husband asks me, "What do you want to do this weekend?" And I say, "Oh, how about going for a hike? Let's go for a hike." And he says to me, "Oh, but you've been coughing and sick all week. Do you think you need to relax a bit?" I might say, "That is beside the point. I just really want to go for a hike." So he's presenting some kind of evidence that says, you shouldn't go for a hike. You should just rest and relax. And I'm saying, I don't care that I was sick last week. I want to go for a hike. That's beside the point. That's not an important reason. That's beside the point. I just want to go for a hike. So, if you want to push away what someone has said, dismiss what they've said, this is a great expression for you. Ah, that's beside the point. I want to do what I want to do. Great work learning those 10 expressions that I use every day. Let's go on to 10 more. I'm going to tell you the sample sentence, and I want you to guess what you think this phrase means. On a roll. I'm on a roll today. I got everything done on my to-do list, and it's not even lunch yet. What do you think this means? This lovely phrase, on a roll, means that you are on a streak of success. I have been productive all morning. I got everything done on my to-do list. I can't believe it. I didn't get sidetracked. I didn't procrastinate. I'm on a roll. If you like to watch sports, you can also use this phrase. You might say, they scored 3 goals in a row. They are on a roll. Vocabulary phrase number 2 that I use every day is ahead of time. Take a look at the sentence. I try to make my kids' lunches ahead of time, but I often just make them in the morning. What do you think this means, ahead of time? This means that I try to complete their lunches before they actually need to be finished. So this means I'm thinking ahead. Maybe I will pack their school lunches the night before, but really, the reality is that usually it happens in the morning before they go to school. But I try to do things ahead of time. Expression number 3 is to get out of hand. Are we talking about something escaping from my hand? Take a look at this sample sentence. Sometimes during the week, dishes and laundry get out of hand because we're so busy. What do you think this means? Well, we could switch one word in this phrase, and I think you'll be able to guess what it means. What if I said, during the week, dishes and laundry sometimes get out of control because we're so busy? Well, you can get the idea that there are dishes in the sink, dishes on the counter, and laundry in the basket. Maybe there's laundry even in the washer that hasn't been dried yet. There's a little bit of chaos because things get busy during the week. But we can use this great phrase instead. At least, it boosts your vocabulary while you're talking about chaos. You could say, dishes and laundry get out of hand during the week. We can also use this to talk about people or places where people are involved. So take a look at this. The kids ate the whole cake and the plate of cookies at the birthday party. After that, the party got out of hand. You can imagine crazy children after that type of experience. Or, you might use it as a warning. I don't want the party to get out of hand, so just eat one piece of cake, please. The next phrase that I use every day is, it's too bad. Take a look at this. It's too bad that we don't have a maid who can help to clean up our house at the end of the day. So, at the end of the day, my family has cleaning time. We have a couple of cleaning songs that we play, and everyone helps to clean up the toys, the dishes, or whatever might be lying around, making a mess in our house. But often during this time I say, it's too bad we don't have a maid who could help to clean up our house. This phrase is just something used to express regret. Obviously, when I'm talking about cleaning up, I'm a little bit joking. I'm saying this in a light-hearted way, but we can also use this in more serious situations as well. If your tone of voice is more serious, you could say, it's too bad that we elected someone else who is incompetent. If you're unsatisfied with your country's politics, you could use this phrase to talk about a serious situation, politics, in kind of a more light-hearted way by using this phrase. It's too bad we elected someone else who is incompetent, someone else who's not going to be able to do a good job. What a regret. The next phrase that I use every day is this one, when the time comes, or sometimes we add another word, when the time comes for. Take a look at this sentence. When the time comes for Matilda, my baby, to go to preschool, our house is going to be very quiet. So, she is my last baby, and oftentimes during these times of transition, I think about this. When she goes to school, it's going to be quite a different life. Well, we can use this phrase, when the time comes for Matilda to go to school, but I'm not really talking about a specific date or year. We're talking about time in general. When the time comes for her to go to school, it's going to be different in our house. You can also use this to talk about your English learning journey. I'm learning English, so when the time comes for me to go to the U.S. for vacation, I am going to be prepared. Or, I'm learning English so that when the time comes and we have some English-speaking clients at work, I'm going to be able to talk to them with no problem. You don't know exactly when that time will be, but you will be prepared when the time comes. The next phrase I use every day is some fresh air. I've been stuck inside all morning. I need to go outside and get some fresh air right now. My kids are outside playing. They are getting some fresh air. Do you know what this means? It just means going outside. Usually, it's kind of laced with the idea that you need some kind of relief. When you get some fresh air, it helps you feel better. Maybe you feel less stressed, more energized, or relaxed. I need to go outside and get some fresh air. Talking about getting fresh air, the next phrase goes along with it. There's something about. Take a look at this. There's something about going outside and getting some fresh air that just makes me feel better. Do you think that I know exactly why fresh air helps me feel better? No, I don't know exactly why. There's something about fresh air that helps me feel better. Okay, I'm talking about when something has the ability to influence me, but I can't really describe it. There's something about fresh air that just feels great. You might even use it to talk about my English lessons. There's something about Laura's English lessons that I just love. Maybe you don't know exactly why you keep watching my English lessons, but it's hard to describe, and it influences you. There's something about Laura's lessons that just makes me want to come back again and again and watch them. I hope that's true. The next phrase that I use every day is, come to think of it. Come to think of it, it is snack time. Let's go eat something. Maybe, like your kids, my kids are always asking for a snack, but I try not to let them eat a snack all day, all the time. We have kind of snack times. It's not extremely strict, but if they ask me for a snack and it's around 10 o'clock in the morning, that's generally snack time. If they say, Mom, I'm so hungry, I need a snack, I might say, well, come to think of it, it is snack time. Let's go eat something. So, here, we're talking about something that just appeared in my mind in the middle of this conversation. I wasn't thinking, snack time is coming soon, I'm going to prepare a snack. No, my kids asked me for a snack, and I just remembered, oh, come to think of it, oh, look at that. It is snack time, let's go eat. So, it's something that just comes up in the conversation. I want to give you another example for this. Last week, my sister and I were talking about my grandparents and thinking about them, and I said in the middle of our conversation, come to think of it, I haven't heard from my grandma in a while. Maybe I should give her a call. Okay, we were having this conversation about our grandparents, and I realized in the middle of that conversation that I hadn't heard from my grandma. She hadn't called me for a while, so I thought, oh, come to think of it, I haven't heard from her for a while. Maybe I should call her. It just came up in my mind in the middle of the conversation. The next phrase that I use every day is to be spoiled. Take a look at this sentence. We're so spoiled because our neighbors share good food with us. Have you ever had a neighbor bring you over some freshly made cookies or maybe some soup that they just made on a cold day? Ah, it's such a beautiful feeling. This is a way to truly show love, I think. So, for me, I have several neighbors that are constantly sharing food with me. I feel spoiled. I'm spoiled that my neighbors share such good food with me. What do you think this means to be spoiled. This just means that I'm treated well, maybe even above well. I am pampered. Someone is taking care of me more than is even necessary. I'm spoiled. We do sometimes use this negatively for children. So if your child always asks for toys, and every time they ask for a toy, you say yes. Anytime you're walking down the aisle in a store, and they say, I want to buy that, you say okay, and then they want to buy something else, and you say okay, 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 okay. Well, you know what? Your children are spoiled. This is not a good thing. It's not a good thing for us as adults either, but when someone is spoiling me by giving me food, this is generally just a neutral or good thing. But make sure that you try not to spoil your children too much. We want them to be grateful for the things that they have. The final phrase that I use every day that I want to share with you today is the fact that, okay, we need to add this grammatically correctly into a sentence. So, take a look at this. I love the fact that my neighbors support each other. Okay, yes, we're talking about a fact, something that is true, but look how this is grammatically used. I could just say, I love that my neighbors take care of each other, but instead I added the fact to kind of emphasize this is an absolute truth. I love the fact that my neighbors take care of each other, and it's true. We often look out for each other and bring each other things, bring each other food, check in on each other, and make sure that each other is doing well. I love the fact that my neighbors take care of each other. Let me give you one more sample sentence with this. One of my friends is a vegetarian, which means she does not eat meat. And she told me this: my family has finally accepted the fact that I don't eat meat. Well, maybe before her family thought, this is just a phase. It will pass. If you're a vegetarian, maybe your family said the same thing. But she said that her family has accepted the fact that she doesn't eat meat. And now, whenever she goes over to their house, they try to accommodate her in some way. It's very kind. They accept the fact that she doesn't eat meat. Well, congratulations on learning 40 expressions that I use every day in English, and you can too. Well, thank you so much for learning English with me, and I'll see you again next video for a new lesson here on my YouTube channel. Bye. But wait, do you want more? I recommend watching this video next, where you will learn English around town with me, including how I will show you one of the coolest houses in my town. It is very exciting. I'll see you in that video to find out.